Hi, how are you? Welcome to this week's vlog at Chateau de la Chateaudiy. I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking to you and giving you a bit of an update about what has been happening here and the overall grand master plan for the chateau, if you want to put it that way. The past 18 months here, since we've moved here, so perhaps the 16 months that we've been here, have been not the dream of us that we wanted initially when we moved to the chateau. The past 15 months have been crazy for everybody in the world. We're talking about the pandemic with the coronavirus, and for us in particular also the Brexit situation. We moved here, of course, knowing full well that Brexit was going to take place, but we didn't know its full implications, and nobody did. In fact, now they're still sorting out, the French and British authorities are still sorting out agreements of things that are important to us and the families that are trying to settle in France. But this week we had some really good news, but to understand that good news I need to give you perhaps a couple of minutes backstory, and quite a few of you have been asking what's been going on with the market garden. Are you selling produce yet? We know that that was your part of your grand master plan, if you like. And the reality is no, we haven't been selling the produce. The market garden hasn't even been opened yet. Many of you who followed us now for months know that one of the major sources of income that we hope to achieve living here in France was to open up our own market garden and sell the vegetable produce to our friends, families around here. We have detailed business plans, etc. for that. We have the information, the knowledge. We just needed to get to know the climate here and how that would affect growing, and then of course our customer base, which is the most important thing. We were all ready for starting late this spring. We had the seedlings, the plants, the produce in the ground, and then we hit a stumbling block. And that stumbling block was trying to basically make our right to stay here in France through the withdrawal agreement between Brexit and France, actually make that a reality. And obtain what was called our titre de séjour, which basically is our resident permit card. We are already French residents now, just by being here so many months of the year and having your domicile here, you are a French resident. But after Brexit, trying to make that legal and all the implications around that, for most people has been very straightforward. For us, there was quite a few unseen complications that we didn't know, some complications that we should not have been put up against, to be quite frank. And what it meant was, instead of the process taking maybe up to 2 months and being in a queue with everybody else here, that process has taken 5-6 months. And we received the great news this week that we have been invited to our local prefecture in Toulouse to actually have our fingerprints taken and then obtain our titre de séjour cards. However, why did that make such a huge difference? Well, what actually happened in reality was the French authorities, we were ready to register as a small farm, and we were told last year by the Chambre d'Agriculture, do not register as a farm until you are ready to sell. There's just simply no point, and you're going to incur lots and lots of cost until you're ready. So we didn't, but we went to start the process early this year, and we were then told unofficially, don't bother, there's just no point, because until now you have your titre de séjour, you will not be granted registration for any kind of new business in France. Unless you already have that, there's just no point. This was a huge blow. We had all the plants in the ground, we were ready to get going, ready to sell, we were relying on that income, albeit it wouldn't be huge, but it would keep us pushing forward on the renovation. We wouldn't be having to dip into our savings as much, which are dwindling extremely fast because we're behind on the project anyway. So the whole thing has been a real worry, so much so, of course, we've been pushing on and we've been positive and we've been putting big smiles on our faces, but in the background we have been worried, really worried. So this week, to receive the news that finally we have been invited to go and just complete the formalities for our titre de séjour is immense. It's the best news ever. Now, we're not home and dry yet. But it does mean that once we've got that, we can then basically make the application to become a small farm, to try and make the farm work. But it's going to be really, really tough. But we're going to try, because it's our dream, and this is what we moved to France for, to start a market garden, to build our dream of having a small farm, extend that later on with animals, and within 2 to 3 years to start a teaching school, to have volunteers and also other people who wanted to learn and take courses and do what we do, and particularly young people. One aspect of that is coming true already this October, which we're so excited about, is we have had agricultural schools contact us from just simply what we've been doing on Facebook with different things. And one of them is an agricultural school in Burgundy, and they are now sending 1 to 2, we're not sure on whether it be 1 or 2 volunteers in October this year to help us start implementing some of the things that we need to do to transition from a large kitchen garden to a small market garden. So it's good news. I'm not here to moan. I'm here with a bit of sense of relief, still a huge amount of trepidation, but we are a little bit, it's one more thing off the tick list, and it's been a massive learning curve for us. We still have our goals and dreams in sight. To the fact that we even have agricultural schools interested in sending people to us to help us now is another great thing that happened this week. But it means for the channel nothing really. I just wanted to give you an update. We will be taking a 2-week break after this video, mainly to try and help get our ducks in a row. The children are off school now. It is very hard at the moment to concentrate on renovations. So don't panic. We are still going to be here. We are going to come back bigger and better, hopefully, than before. We are really excited because the next renovation project that we started inside is the bedroom. I will be plastering. We'll be doing the floors, the windows, everything basically in those that needs doing. And the aim now is for us to get the market garden up and running in the next 3 months, so we can start to sell. It won't be opening up with a bang that we expected, that we would have done late this spring, but hopefully, all being well, if we can navigate that registration process, we'll have almost like a soft opening, and that'll allow us still to do the things in the background that are needed for the renovation, to open up with in March as our chambre d'hôte, our B&B business with 3 bedrooms right from the start. So we're really excited, but we need those 2 weeks just to regroup, just to basically navigate what's going on here now. It's all systems go, and we're crossing our fingers, maybe one cross finger, and hoping for the best. So with that being said, let's show you just a couple of little things that happened this week. So we have another momentous day here. Finally, we have Eiffage coming to take out the old electricity poles. There's 4 of them here, and last year, as we showed you in a previous video, they buried the electricity cables underground. And now what they're doing is coming to probably make a whole new lot of mess. So we'll see what happens here. I have told them the route that I'd wish them to take. So we'll see if they're going to follow this. So you can just see them in the background now. I'm currently filming the chateau tour, and there's a lady with them, and she said, pas de photo, and I said, oh yeah, okay. They've already been screaming at each other, so this is going to be interesting. So I've just snapped the camera off and come and hid on the other side of the kitchen. I've been waiting for this for almost a year now, so I thought it'd be really nice to film and see the process, but I'm having to do a little bit covertly. So now you can see this is why we wanted them to come and do it before we really started landscaping, because of the mess that they're making. And so I gave them the instructions that they can dig up the grass, but not dig up the stones area. So let's see if they can do it. And there we have it. What a mess. What a mess. I am so glad I insisted that they put the digger on the grass, and work on the grass. But if you've ever done the lawn from scratch, you do know that you can reseed it, but then trying to do all those stones again, I really didn't fancy that, so hopefully there's just a little bit of work to do there. And there we can see the little mini camion, the little mini truck. Sorry, I'm filming this through a window, as you know, so it's mucky windows, and it's going to pick up the 2 poles that they've taken out so far, which is great because what this means is the ones around the chateau are down now. So they'll put those on the camion and then they'll go onto the pasture and take the others. What you can see just now is they're actually cutting with angle grinders, and obviously real heavy duty ones, the poles, and for some reason I thought they would load them as they were onto the truck. Obviously not. Makes more sense to cut them up. So yeah, overall I'm hoping a good job. So here's Julian a couple of months ago in front of the old electricity pole, and it was just in the way, and we had 2 of these, and we showed you these before, one of them here, one of them at the side of the stables, and then also 2 further in the pasture as well. And although they looked a little bit better without cables on them, they were just in the way. So here we have the after photo. Amazing, I'm sure you're all really excited to see that. But if you see the before shot, and then you see what this really looked like and how much of an eyesore it was, to be honest, then it is going to make the whole place look a little bit tidier, particularly now that's done. We're going to be able to, in spring, it's not going to be done before that now, we're going to be able to really formally landscape this area, so put some proper edging and some borders and etc. Into this space and all around the front of the chateau. That's what we were waiting for, and now we have nothing stopping us apart from time on other projects. So the moment we have been waiting for since April has finally arrived, and we are receiving our first 10 tons of new compost. We need at least 30, and we get it from our local déchetterie, and in April they didn't have any. So we were waiting, and now the problem is that they only have 1 chauffeur, and they usually have several. So chauffeur is drivers. So they have a lot of compost now, but they don't have the drivers to get it to people because of COVID and people isolating because they've been in contact with somebody, even though they haven't got COVID themselves. And he looks like he's about to take out our tree there. There we go. So now he's turning. So I've just spoken to the chap and said, oh, please, can I have another 10 ton as soon as possible? Because sometimes if you speak to, if you try and go navigate your way around the system, then sometimes it works a little bit easier. But he's just said, no, you need to speak to the chef, and the chef is the boss. And I said, yes, I've already done that. But yeah, so here we are. Might not be exciting for you guys, but this is very exciting for us because it means that we can get on making the beds that we've been waiting to make since April. So, très excitant. And there we have it. Fantastique. So les portes sont ouvertes, the gates are open, and now it's time to do the tipping. This is what will fuel our business and continue to fuel our kitchen garden, and it is the energy, the powerhouse that keeps basically the whole garden and the whole beds going. So the misconception to have healthy plants and healthy vegetables is that you should be feeding the plants. What feeds the plants is this, it's the compost. are black gold. Absolutely awesome. Does look like it's hot. So I'll test it soon, but it will need to sit for a few weeks at least before it can be planted into. You can make the bed straight away, but you do need to make sure that if it's hot compost, you're not planting into it. Thanks for being with us this week. Please like and subscribe if not done already, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.